Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Beacon, a home for those who have a passion for filmmaking and the unusual. The Haunted Hiddensdale House. Those who walk there do not walk alone. Paraware, apparel for the action-seeking paranormal investigator. Dragonfly art and soul for all of your magical, metaphysical, and spiritual needs. Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, the paranormal, and so much more. Paraniagara, one of the top-rated destinations in Western New York. The Black Cat Lounge is part of the Paraflix Entertainment Network. Everybody, Tim Shaw here. It's so great to have you back. Tuesday nights without you is not the same. You know what I'd be doing if you weren't here? I'd probably be washing my feet or taking pictures of them. You know, OnlyFans is the way to go. I'm on a fixed income, guys. What can I tell you? Anyway, we've got a great show for you tonight. Our guest is fantastic, and I am just so thrilled that he's come by. Now, during the show, you may hear... Now, it was ringing before. Of course, the show is going to be going on, so it's not going to be ringing. But this is one of those dead bells. I've been working with them a lot. It just rang. Thank you. I've been working with them a lot, and I have to say that it's kind of unique. I'm impressed by it. I really am. So, if you hear it, don't worry. I am not going to be excommunicado, as in the Jonathan Wick series. Anyway, guys, let me introduce you to someone already loves this guy. Let me introduce to you to tonight's guest. I've known this guy for a while. He is, again, he's one of the hardest working people in the paranormal. Wow. This guy is constantly working. He is out there. He's, you know what? He's an author. He's written Grains of Sand, Tales of the Paranormal Life. He's an international speaker. He's an investigator. He's a great media personality. I mean, he's probably one of the most universal people that I know within the field that does a little bit of everything and does it well. Now, some of his credits, this kills me. Some of his credits include, and I want to talk to him about that. Of course, he's been on The Haunted Collector. We all know that. Uncle Ziggity loves him as a son. We know that he's been on The Unexplained. Curse of Oak Island. I did not know that. How did I miss that? I don't know. Paranormal Caught On Camera, as well as many others. He has an outstanding mobile, interactive, paranormal exhibit that is next to none. People, if you get a chance to see it, do it. I'll tell you what, I love listening to him speak. He's one of the top guys that he really makes sense, and he questions. He doesn't just accept everything, you know, he kind of questions, and that's what I love. And this is what's so important. But being somebody from New York State, like him, I am a huge fan of this. New York State's Haunted History Trail. Well, guess what? He is the face. He is the research guy. He is the guy that's out there constantly working, constantly trying to find new places, constantly going out there and filming. And I got to tell you what, I gotta find his photographer because he makes him look phenomenal. That's eye candy, baby. That's eye candy. New York State ain't nothing without this dude. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome the one and only Brian Cano to the Black Cat Line. Brian, how you doing, blood? It's so good
Hey,
to see ya.
it's good to see you, Tim. It's wow. This is the only show that I've come on where I get fluffed before, so thank you for that. I'm enjoying it.
Man's got to have a hobby. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? I got to make sure that you are recognized for who you are. But you know what? A lot of people take you for granted because you have been on so many TV shows and you have done so much. Your lectures are always sold out. Your lectures are fantastic. And it's amazing that you, of all people, aren't even, I mean, I got to ask you now, Dustin Perry, we all know Dustin Perry is a true road warrior. He's gone every single weekend. You got to be pretty close to that because I've seen your schedule and it's amazing how many places you hit per year.
This year has been kind of slow. I will say
Really?
that. I remember before, like 2017, 2018, 2019, I was Perry-esque with my travels. I was
Hmm.
constantly going, and I liked it that way. 2021 was a very good year. Unfortunately for the rest of the world, pandemic shut everyone down. I
Right.
kept, but this year, I don't know what it is. It's been kind of quiet, and I know everyone is feeling a little bit of shrink, but it's gotta keep going, gotta keep going.
You
It
know,
if nothing else, the one thing I don't wanna be like Dustin about is how often he gets delayed and canceled flights and travel. No, that boy, he needs some kind of blessing or a curse lifted, something. He's gotta fix all that.
well, I'm gonna tell you, Bry, you're talking to a guy that like hates flying now, hates it, absolutely despises it because of the fact that it has been so hellacious for me. My biggest problem is, of course, going through Detroit. That's a whole nother story. And I never, I never make it through there without any problems. But
Mhm.
now I've taken to the car, and yours truly has a brand new car. And now I'm back on the road. So I'll be doing like two out of staters per month. That's enough for me. I don't really want to push too much because I'm getting old, and people get tired of hearing, my bones creak as I stand up and walk to the podium. And that's just the way it works. Brian, I want to ask you something, man. This insane journey that both of us actually are on, but you especially, did you ever think that you would follow this passion this far?
No, absolutely not. I had no idea, no clue, no inkling. If I got into a time machine today and went back and talked to my younger self and said, "Okay, just hear me out. You're going to do this paranormal thing."
Yeah.
I would not have believed it. And then that's the thing. As tough as things get, as much as I sometimes that's the thing. I'm a cynical New Yorker. It's in my DNA. I get up in the morning, I doom scroll, and I look and I see what other people are doing, and I'm like, "Arr!" But that being said, comparison is the yeah, exact Bing. Shenanler Bong. Death comparison is the death of happiness. So
Right.
I
You're right.
get that out of my system and I go, you know what? The fact that I've been able to do this for so long, just like people all over the world hire me to come talk.
Right.
And I don't think I have anything that interesting to say, but you know
Oh,
what?
no, I disagree with
I
you there. I disagree with you there because of the fact that I'll be honest with you. I have seen you talk. I can't even. I probably 10 times that I've actually sat through your lectures and enjoyed them, and everyone has been entertaining because that's your personality. You're such a great communicator, and you're able to go and bring forth this information in an entertaining way that everybody loves to hear. I, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not. I've run into a lot of people, and I've run into people that, well, I hate this one, I hate that one. I have yet to ever run into anybody that says I hate Brian Cano. I'm sure there are. but usually those are the scorned women folk that
They
want
meet on
to.
Wednesdays. So we're good today.
Okay, phew, you guys are getting me a little worried there. But do you ever sit back and say to yourself, where am I going from here?
You may ask yourself, where is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? You may say to yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may yell to yourself, my God, what have I done? And now I have to pay David Byrne like $5,000 for that.
I knew. Listen. I'm showing my age too because I knew exactly. I knew who you were quoting.
It's like, damn. So, and that ding, that was the record company going, we just made some more money. Ding. Well, where am I going? I don't know, but the goal, I have several things cooking that I really want to kind of blow up a little bigger. I want my history of the paranormal exhibit to continue going. We were doing it about 4 times a year, once a season, and then pandemic slowed down. Everyone, like, admittedly, you've seen it, Tim. Those of you guys watching know it. You feel we're all feeling it's getting a little crowded out here. There's a lot of events. There's almost too many events. And not that
Yes.
there's not enough room for everyone, but you get on an elevator and there's too many people. Sometimes you're like, I'm going to wait for the next one. The exhibit has gotten knocked down to maybe 2 or even once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get to all 50 states at that pace. So I want to make it a little easier to head out west. Go west, young man. It's hard. Getting that exhibit out of New England has been quite the challenge. Exactly. Ding. And I'm definitely ready to do it. We had a booking in Kansas, and we were thinking of going out to Texas and California. That none of that has been solidified yet. So I have to be careful. I can't just. This is not an ego thing where I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what it costs. No, I have to be careful.
I mean, your exhibit is huge, and it takes a monumental effort to move it, to set it up. It has to be in the right place. You have to make sure you have the right. You need to have the right public that will go and appreciate it. So yeah, it is crazy. Out of everybody,
I got to give a shout out to Charlie Hall from Haunted Magazine. She did a spectacular article in the last issue of Haunted Magazine talking about the exhibit. And I admittedly, I was a little difficult with her. I said, I don't want to talk about anything but my exhibit because everyone does everything else. I want to focus on this.
Right.
And she goes, well, I want to have a little kind of a generalized thing at first, just so people know who you are and then talk about it. I'm like, but in the article, she talked about the world's largest ghost hunt, haunted collector. She talked about the world's largest Ouija board on the roof of the Grand Midway. She really did a 360 view of my whole career. And I think it came out great.
Amazing.
I read the article. I said, oh, this is amazing.
I have to say, because I get the magazine, and I have to say they did a great job on there. I forgot I was going to bring it down so I could go and I could go and showcase it. But I have to say that again, people, you're not one of those one-dimensional people. There's so many people on TV that we've met. We're not going to mention names. We're not going to mention names, but
it's 2 of them.
There's more than 2 of them, but they're one-dimensional, and you know that. And I always call them one-trick ponies. You're not one of those. You've always been able to go and follow the fads, follow the pulse beat, and you've always been able to go and really bring yourself to that forefront. And that's what I think was great. Let me ask you this. This is a question for me.
Okay.
Out of all the people that you've worked with, and you've worked with like some of the heavy hitters, not just on TV, but in off camera, you've worked. I mean, you've been a producer, you've been a cameraman with Scared. I mean, all these people that you've worked with, all these people that you've appeared with at so many of the cons. Do you have one person that you think that really that either A, you really connected with them as a friend, or B, you've really like thought of them as like a mentor to you?
This is tough because I'm horrible with favorite questions. People ask, "What's your favorite song, your favorite movie, your favorite place, or favorite haunt? What's the scary?" Anytime I have to pick one, I just I can't because there's so many things to consider. There's so
Uh-huh.
many good qualities, and
Mhm.
it depends on my mood. But if I had like a top 10 or even a top five, obviously the Ziggity. I've learned so much from him. John Zaffis, being with him on Haunted Collector. And actually, it's funny because right before I came onto this broadcast, I am a little George Lucas-esque in a way that I often go back and I resurrect old projects and I tinker with them and I add
Yes.
things and I try
Yeah.
to upscale it. Now, you mentioned Scared. Scared, we did in a time before HD. We
Yes.
did this in standard definition, 4 by 3. Some of the things on YouTube are just so old that it doesn't look good. So I feel like we were at the forefront of this movement. I want to knock it up a notch, but what I've been editing right now is the 15th anniversary of John Zaffis' The World Within documentary. Painstakingly, frame by frame, second by
Wow.
second, upscaling, upgrading, improving, and adding to it. I guess call it special edition if we're going to follow the Lucas narrative. But yeah, um, it premiered at Dragon Con in September. I think it was September 8th, 2010. So we're coming up on that date. 15 years. I want a new batch of people. I want a new generation of bell ringing investigators to see this documentary. So
I
obviously,
remember when you were filming it. I think I'm in it, if I'm not mistaken.
you
I might
are
I got a
at
little
Iron
picture
Island.
with yeah, and I always remember that that was the very first, I'm not gonna lie, it's the very first paranormal DVD that I ever got, and after that, I was a fan of Scared, you know? And as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's so long ago that DVDs were very popular then, but we are still in the realm of VHS. Thank you, telling me that I'm old. And it was, I always remember that. And I remember you coming out, and I remember you were one. I remember thinking to myself, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And I thought, he's all right. I kind of like him. And
We
then the
had
next,
we had drive and ambition back then. I don't know what's going on today. I'm tired.
oh, you're not the only one. Believe me. I go and I work on different projects. I work with other different people. And now I'm just at that point where it's like, yeah, I remember going 23 hours and having the full-time job, and editing when you get home, and
Yeah.
and trying to keep working. So I remember those days. But yeah, I think that's great. I'm hoping a whole new generation really goes and appreciates it, because Zaffis is one of those people that uh, he's always been a great supporter of mine, and I've learned so much from him. So
Well, you know what it is? The old man can be a bit of curmudgeon sometimes. So he's like, "Oh, TV, I don't care," and he's choosing to not go on the air, but that's for himself. I mean, obviously that's a great choice and you have to pick and choose the right projects.
right,
But I see everybody else who's on TV every 5 seconds, they never hit the ground. They get knocked off a show. They don't even stop until they land on something else, and it's just kind of more of the same. And John has so much to offer that I would love to see him on another full project. But I mean, I teach from my Patreon. I have an apprentice tier where I
hmm
teach people things they want to learn, and a lot of the people in it, bless their hearts, they don't know names that aren't on TV. And
it's true. It's true.
through either my mentor sessions or the history of the paranormal, I'm trying to get these names out there because we need this solid foundation. There's more than just what you see on TV. And again, this is not a shot at them. Entertainment has brought what we do to a wide audience, and for
Yes, it
that, I'm
has.
thankful.
Yes, it has.
Um, speaking of being on TV, Paranormal Caught on Camera, I got to give a shout out to Dan Sturges, who is just a delight to hang out with. He's a
And he was
fellow
just on
bald
my
brother
show.
of yours, and
Yep.
good man.
He was just on he was, matter of fact, he was just on this show a couple of weeks ago. And he's an unsung hero. I mean, I was really impressed when I delved into him, when I started doing a little bit of work, and I only met him up at Mansfield in June. It's the first time I had ever met him. And I mean, he was razzing me left and right. And I said, this guy's all right. This guy's okay. And he got on the show, and I would, when I did my due diligence, I was impressed. And he was a really great guy. And we have a lot of things in common, so we'll probably be bringing him back on the show. So
Good.
he's fantastic.
Good man.
He's just great. Listen, if I could put you in a time machine, Brian goes into the stage left, or actually stage right on this. Put him into the time machine, open the door, close the door, and let him go back in time so that he could work with anybody in the paranormal or the psychical societies of the early 1900s. Who would Brian pick to meet and work with?
You're killing me, man. This is another favorite question. Well, if I had a time machine, like you wouldn't know because the timeline would be inexorably altered. I would Rick and Morty that to death. But if I had to pick one, probably at this present moment,
yes,
I would like to hang out with Harry Price.
I agree.
I'd like to see that parapsychology lab. I want to be there when he was trying to use the X-ray machine on that psychic to see if he could see where the ectoplasm was, and she ran out. Ding! I have my suspicions. I would love to be there during that frontier time, with the ticket back home, of course, because medicine and health being what it was back then. I
agree. Everybody asks me these questions, and I'm like, anytime. So long as I can keep one tether in the modern world, I'd be happy.
I think that was that Helen Duncan, or was that? I know it wasn't Mina Crandon. I think it was Helen Duncan that he tried to X-ray. She was married to a doctor.
I'm trying to remember because I know. Yeah, I believe it was. It's been a while since I read about his life, and he's been one of the most fascinating people out of everybody. When you start going and you start looking at all the early pioneers of it, he's probably the only one that I could actually say that he might have been able to be, because most of them weren't. Thank you. Most of them weren't on the level. I believe that he probably was. So that's why I always liked him. Now,
I met a guy. It's funny because as I take my history of the paranormal exhibit here, there, and everywhere I go, it grows. I either add something or I improve something. And there is a Fox Sisters little interactive show, so to speak. And I had some local actress friends of mine play the Fox Sisters, and it's a wonderful little skit where they kind of give all the information about who they are through this dialogue. I met someone at work who's the spitting image of Harry Price. I said, "Oh, I've got to get you on camera," and he's like, "I'm not interested." I'm like, "You're not interested? I don't care if you're not interested. I gotta get you in this role." He wouldn't do it.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a shame. That's a shame there, because I would love to have been able to see something like that where it would come up and people would be like, "Oh my God, it is him! It is," and all you got to and it's been quiet all night, Brian. This is the effect that you have. You're luminous. You're just illuminous.
That's one word for it.
Brian, you know what? Yeah, I'm a spiritualist. You know that. And you've worked with a lot of mediums and stuff. But I am not one of these guys that I'm definitely not one of these guys that oh, well, there's these spirits and they're all this and that and they're here and there. I'm more of an energy guy. I don't believe in heaven or hell. I don't believe in angels or demons. I believe everything is energy. I believe memories are energy. Thoughts are things, that sort of stuff. Now, we got a posting on Facebook from a good friend of mine who's she's a great psychic. She's works within the Cabot traditions, and she's had a lot of the same instructors that I have. And let me just find it. Amy Coban from Niagara Falls saw you recently at the Lilydale Assembly with Dustin and Johnny Zaffis, and you spoke about talapas. I say it talapas, but there's a different way of saying it. Could you elaborate on that, on these thought forms? Because as a As someone who has been a dowser for many years and worked with the old timers and knew the late Raymond Buckland, who taught me spirit communication through the pendulum, and the pendulum is a tool of dowsing. And as a spiritualist, going and doing table turning, table tipping, and the whole Philip experiment up in Toronto in the early 1970s, the placement of energy and intent and can affect the atmosphere around people, around hauntings, and that sort of thing. Could you just kind of touch on that about these thought forms?
This is kind of an amorphous topic because it touches upon lots of different areas. And the reason I got to it and the reason I was speaking about it at Lilydale was I'm pushing forward into an unexplored area of the paranormal. I theorize that there can be some basic sentience to
Yes,
certain places, and it's brought on by our intent, our focus, the depositing of that energy. And again, everything in the universe is energy and vibration. So it just takes on different forms. Now, a tulpa, as I explained up at Lilydale, a tulpa is a thought form brought into being through the thoughts, the wishes, the intents of humans. Now, the
correct,
Philip
correct.
experiment, you brought it up. Perfect example. In the 1970s, a Canadian parapsychological group said, you know what? Where are these EVPs coming from? Maybe instead of just asking and trying to get information, let's start with a story already. And they made up a character. His name was Philip. They gave him a background, a last name, likes, things he was allergic to, the whole dossier. So they started asking for Philip. Philip, are you here? Philip, are you cold? Philip. They addressed him by name, and eventually
Mhm.
Philip started to answer. So could he have been an example of this tulpa? Or could it have been another spirit saying, well, they're not talking to me, but they keep wanting to talk to this Philip. Sure, I'm Philip. Either of these two things are possible. But when we're talking about the creation of a thought form, energy has mass.
Correct.
If thoughts are energy, that whole create your own reality, bringing thoughts into being, manifesting, I'm
Yes.
horrible at it. A lot of times it gets a bad rap because of the woo woo nature of, oh, I'm manifesting, and you get a lot of girls who shop at Hot Topic who manifest nothing but just annoyance. Exactly. um
We have an anti-hot topic
the
entity
concept
bothering us.
is a legitimate one, and all we have to do is get this to cooperate with the laws of thermodynamics and a little bit of quantum physics, and we're right there. But when it comes to the what we've been, especially on Paranormal Caught on Camera, we like to use the word tulpa, and there's many different words for it used in
Hmm.
different cultures throughout the worlds. I guess you could say, all right, maybe an example in Hebrew tradition, the golem
The
is
golem.
brought forth
Yes.
through that intense, and you might call it magic, but anything that we don't understand at a certain point would seem magical. But once we understand it, science.
Well, here's another thing. This is something that, well, first off, as a spiritualist, I was taught from a young age, thoughts are things. To me, that's all energy. And I'm not a big fan of like something that has been always evil or something that has always been good. So thus, I throw angels and demons out, to the side of the road. Spirit guides, I'm not. I'm going to disagree with the bell. I don't know. I mean, I think this internal antenna we have brings in some kind of energy, some kind of thoughts. But here's where I really I've gotten crucified over this, Brian. I'm a firm believer that you over time, you go to a haunted location, over time you get different types of responses. Now, I will go up to the Hinsdale house. I will get the exact same type of response that I got when I first went there I don't know, X amount of a decade ago or so. Other people will go up there and get different responses. Thus, the Wilhelm, thus, all these other spirits that are up there, thus, all this other stuff that's going on. I can tell you the very first time I went up there, I had read Clara Miller's book about when she lived there in the 70s. I got there and it did its darndest to go and produce the same type of phenomena that I had read about. So, A, is it a location that may be somehow alive and is picking up on my vibration of wanting to get a response? Is it constantly different spirits coming in and out of like a portal? Or, and this is where people crucify me, or is it the investigators themselves that are either A, bringing this energy with them, or B, manifesting it because of their intent of wanting to get a successful investigation and a successful evidence? Because I will go out there and again, I will get something totally different from what other people are saying and what other people are getting.
I don't know why people crucify you for that, because I mean that's the most obvious statement that could have been made, and it's 100% true. There's no way you can go into a place, and this is the thing. This is the crux of quantum physics. Observing something changes its outcome. It takes all the potential, all the possibilities, and flattens it down to one quantum singularity. So when you go to a place,
correct,
yes, you're bringing everything you are, and by the very nature of your presence there, you are changing. For instance, the Hinsdale House. Hinsdale House in a vacuum, sitting out in the field in the middle of nowhere, is the Hinsdale House. The minute you go there, you bring what your experience there. When I go there, I bring, and it's like plugging in a Nintendo cartridge. Different game will play depending on what it is. The house is the system. You are the cartridge. You're going to play out a different thing, but people will go there for different reasons. And this is true with every place. And it grinds my gears because, I mean, and again, respect to Dan for keeping it up and really making a go of it. But if I hear insert famous name here that has been there one more time, I'm just going to shoot myself in the face, because it doesn't matter what that person did. I'm more interested in what you've done. Why would you want to go to a place and have the exact same experience as insert famous person here? That's silly. That's called a roller coaster ride. Go to Six Flags. They're all over the nation. You can have your thrills that way. I would rather go to a place, and I would rather hear a report saying, yeah, I went to this place and it was weird. This happened, but that's never happened to anyone else before. I'm like, good. Now you're expanding the story. We're adding more to it. Because if everyone is just having the same experience, either A, that sounds like residual to me, or B, you just want to not have wasted X amount of dollars to place you went to, and you want to make sure you had the same experience that everyone else did, and you're lying to yourself, you're lying to us. I'm getting really agitated about this. It's just very simple, and I would rather people be true to themselves and the investigation. But here's the problem. This is not a field. This is something I've been hammering a nail on the head lately.
Yes,
we are not a field. I'm barely in the field. We're a community. And in this paranormal community, there's many different types. There's tourists. They're just going to go for the thrill, go for the scare, go home.
Exactly.
There's the investigators. The black t-shirt wearing people who spend their Fridays and Saturdays driving here, there, and everywhere, spending their money, spending their time, forming groups. But what are they doing with the data after that? Great, you got 50 EVPs last night, but what are you doing with it?
That's exactly it. That's
very
exactly
small.
What are you doing with it?
Very small percentage of the community are people who are trying to do something with that data. Now, here's the thing. You can be in one category. You can graduate up, down. I can go someplace and I don't have to research all the time, but maybe I just want to have some fun and be a tourist. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with being in any of those categories. We are who we are, but it's important to know what you are, and it's important to know that exists, because I spent years.
You got to be truthful to yourself with this.
I spent years being mad at those other people because they weren't being serious on an investigation, but they were tourists. That's not why they were there. So it was my misunderstanding of their intent that
Exactly.
created
Exactly.
a different feel.
I have good friends down in Virginia that they're in the field, but they're not investigators. They go to haunted locations and they set up all sorts of meters, and they're checking radiation, barometric pressures. I mean, they're looking for patterns. They're looking for patterns. They're looking to see what goes into it. I know that even when years ago, many, many years ago, the Kling brothers did the same thing with data sets, trying to go and establish patterns. And up to a point, they have done it. That's serious. Now, like you said, on the other hand, how many times have we been on public hunts where they want us to be puppets and do song and dance, and they're disappointed when nothing happens? I mean, that always has me shaking my head. But within the last few years, I started to think about this, and I thought, you know what? They're tourists.
Yeah,
They're out there for the
well,
thrill ride, and I'm
because they don't
happy that
understand.
they're getting. Yeah,
Because they don't understand, like, again, they think that it's like the TV shows. They go and it'll happen, it'll perform. Or I was on forgive me, I was on TikTok. I have to be because of the haunted history trail. I was on
yes,
TikTok a couple of weeks ago, and there was one of the actors from the show Letterkenny.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. He was doing a live. I popped in on the live and he just said, hey guys, let's talk about ghosts. I said, I could talk about that. And I'm a huge fan of Letterkenny. And I thought, ooh, are my interests colliding? And the actor, it's the guy who plays Coach. And it's funny
Mm-hmm.
because Coach doesn't have a name. You just know him as Coach.
Right.
Coach said, like, you believe in ghosts? You want to talk about ghosts? Yeah. I said, well, it's my job. He goes, it's your job. What do you do? I said, well, I don't like talking about myself. I'm not a name dropper, and I certainly don't drop my name. I was like, well, I pop up on TV from time to time, and I do this for a living. And he goes, well, can you prove it to me? I said, on here? No, I can't, but you're more than welcome to join me on an investigation sometime. He's like, I would love that. But for the people here, prove it to me. I said, I can't do that. He was like, oh, well, if it was that real, you'd be able to prove it. I said, no, that's not how it works. I'm not going to prove the paranormal on TikTok. And we get a lot of that attitude when people come to these investigations. And I always tell them, all right, this is the appetizer sampler. If something happens tonight, great. But I'm going to show you a little bit of how we work because I
Right.
don't know if it's
Right.
going to happen or
Exactly.
not.
Exactly. And we go and we push to a certain extent. Uh, we are able to go and just keep ourselves, like, trying to just make sure that, I guess the best way I can describe it is to be as honest as possible. And we're trying to be out there saying, hey, this is the patterns that we do. This is the way we conduct it. Nobody jumps. Believe me, nobody jumps. We can't go, well, the bell jumps, but we
Bell.
can't, the bell.
Speaking of the bell, September 13th, Dustin Perry and I are going to be doing an event. The boys are back at the Bell Mansion in
Oh,
Fort
that's
Wayne,
right.
Indiana.
That's right.
They are selling to someone who we don't know if they will continue paranormal programming there. So this is going to be our farewell to the Bell. So if any of you guys watching are like, hey, I've never been to the Bell, or I'd like to go back one more time, please go to the website that's scrolling down there, check out the events, and please consider coming to the Bell with Dustin and I. It's going to be a good time, and we're going to have pizza.
Listen, if you got pizza and you got Dustin, it's always a good time. It's always a good time. But I mean, I think the problem that we're all facing is the fact that people are so pablum fed by society, by what is on TV, what's on streaming. And we always have to worry about some of the frauds, some of the people that want, as well as I do, about the YouTube frauds They're brutal, and you have to really watch that. And people don't understand that. So I feel bad that I remember somebody saying to me, "Well, how do we know?" And I'm like, "How do you not know?" And people are handing over their common sense. They're handing over their questioning to producers. And I think that's where we have to watch it. And that's why I think that sometimes people really get upset when they go and they pay. And let's face it, Bri, some of these locations are expensive when they pay big money to be there and nothing happens. And but these are people that were never brought up in an era of going fishing or hunting or whatever, because how many times it should always be the adventure of the place rather than all the other little things that go on.
Well, I think the consumer should also be aware of what it is they're actually spending their money on. When they're buying a ticket, that's not, oh, I'm going to get proof of the paranormal. It's access to a cool place, some history, some time
Exactly.
with us, an experience. It's like a night at the movies, it's a night at a show. You're going to be social, you're going to interact with other people that have similar beliefs or at least questions that you do. And that's what it's there
Yeah.
for. So if nothing happens, at the very least, you met some cool people, you had some laughs, you had a good time, and that's what you paid for. In the same respect, you can go to the movies and maybe the movie isn't that great, but hey, maybe you went with someone you really dig and you had some good food, you got out and got some air. We need to get
Exactly.
back to that.
Exactly. Now, listen, I got to ask you questions. Local questions. Local
Local
questions
questions for local people.
for New York Staters. All you people in New York State. This is the man right here that is I will say, the true dean of the hauntings of the Haunted History Trail here. You've been everywhere. You have gotten to places that I have never even heard of in all the years I've lived here. These places were just like, I can't believe it. I got to ask you, out of every place that you've been here in New York State, what's the place that really surprised you? Something that was like, wow, I really like this place. This has a good vibe, but also, it's just got great backstory. It's got everything kind of rolled into it. It's got a dead bell.
See, my pop culture sensibilities are spiraling now because you said, "Oh, I'm the dean." I'm like, usually I'm Sam, but or Castiel. That's my reference. And then you said I've been everywhere, and I'm like, I've been everywhere, man.
Where
I've been
man, little
everywhere.
little Johnny Cash.
Little Johnny Cash. You know, there's a lot of great places in New York. There's a lot of great places on the Haunted History Trail of New York State. There's one that I think is unsung. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. You wouldn't just be going there and happen upon it. You would have to go there on purpose, and it's up there. It's in Mexico, New York. It's called Casey's Cottage.
Oh, really? That's
It's
I
it's
read about it. Yes.
if I were to transport us there now, and you didn't know you were in New York State, you might think you were in the Alps or in Austria. This place is a little Bavarian wooden, all completely made out of wood cottage mansion. There's multiple bedrooms, but it's small, but there's lots of different areas. There's stairs, there's a fireplace, there's a it's a very interesting location and it's inside I think Mexico State Park.
Oh, really?
Mexico State Park? Well, whatever. It's up there in Mexico, New York, and it's inside of a state park. And it's one of those things that, again, unless you knew about it and were going there specifically, you're not just going to pass and go, "Oh, hey, maybe that place is haunted. I'm going to check it out." It's very cool. The history behind it is interesting, and again, interesting people doing interesting things. The man came, says, "I want a piece of my homeland here. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
build it." Uh, the way they did at home and that energy there. I mean, there's statues of knights in armor, there's heraldry around it. It's almost like a starter medieval times, but
Wow.
like like a summer camp. It's all wooden and you just feel like you're somewhere else, and I think that's conducive to drawing in spirit because once you stop thinking about yourself, your comfort, and everything that is around you, now you're ready to receive.
Now, let me ask you about places that we're off. We're just talking about a place really off the paranormal map. You are you were at, and actually you participated in painting one of the world's largest Ouija boards at the Grand Midway Hotel. And my friend John and Frank and Heather and we all went there one night, and it was, I gotta say, it was great. We didn't get a lot of interaction, but the
Mhm.
place is crazy. Is there another place? Is there a place like in New York State that would be close to? And just let everybody know, the Grand Midway Hotel is like uh, it's like a horror movie on acid, except it was taken out of the movie and placed in an old railroad hotel, and it's an amazing place just
It's a
because of
great
all.
place.
Oh my God, it's got so many different rooms. There's a vampire room. I
Well,
slept in the
the
demon room, and but is there a place in New York? Oh, the demon room was no problem, except at 4 a.m. when I woke up with the light on because I fell asleep reading. I looked and there's a 7-foot naked demon at the foot of my bed. I I
yeah.
had to I had to think a couple of minutes. Listen, Brian, I survived disco, so I mean, I wasn't really shocked, but it was like, dude, and then I realized it was a painting. Is there a
Yes.
place in New York? Is there any place like that in New York State? Because I'm
Well, I
looking to.
described the Grand Midway. I mean, the Grand Midway is part of me. I'm part of it. We are intertwined. We are entangled at this point. I've been through so many creative ventures there. I was introduced to it via a very probably one of the scariest experiences I've ever had, and the one and only case, whether you want to call it that or not, that touched upon the demonic, definitely negative entity.
Mhm.
It was at the right time when I was still very much a skeptic, and I needed a push. I needed something that would shake me into say, "Okay, you got to pay attention to this." I describe the Grand Midway, and it's constantly changing. It's constantly in flux because Blair
Right,
is a
which
mad
I love it.
scientist of creativity.
Yes, he is.
I describe the place like the Addams Family meets the Munsters meets a Spirit Halloween, and there is a place that fits that description on the trail, and it's called the Knox Mansion. This is a place, and I've done 2 quick videos on it, where literally, like, you go over and there's mannequins in every room. They are decorated for Halloween 24/7, 365, and it is literally a mansion because there's a conservatory, there's the kitchen, like, you feel
Wow.
like you're playing Clue Horror Edition. And not only that, but up in the attic, and the attic is one of those huge, it's not like a crawl space, it's a
Mhm.
gigantic floor filled with stuff, more decorations, I assume, but there's a little door that leads to a crawl space. If you crawl through the tunnel of that crawl space through the side of the house, it opens up to a little antechamber, and then that you have to climb over something else to get into a completely secret room. You would
Wow.
never know it's there. And
Wow.
I remember going in there and thinking, I need to spend more time here.
I'm going to go and I'm putting that on the top of my bucket list, Brian. I think this is going to be a little
And they
road trip that my friends and I are going to participate in.
see they and that's the thing. They they're fun people too, because he goes, "Oh, let me give you my card." And he gives me a card that says "my card," nothing else on it. I said, "Oh, great. That's useful. Thanks for that."
I love that. That's amazing,
So
Brian.
they
I
don't take themselves seriously, which is it's great. We're out there to have fun. Let's do it.
okay. Let's just we got a couple seconds here. We can talk. Let me talk. Let's just kind of talk about that whole attitude. You know, growing up, I was taught that this should be fun. I should be able to go and be a part of whether it was a séance or spirit rescue or whatever. You always got more things done. You got more phenomena happening when you were relaxed, when you were part of a group and you enjoyed it. Now, what I found is counterproductive is we're getting these people who are almost like military people. They come out there and they got their uniforms on and they are just going to run this pseudoscientific investigation without having real meters to really experiment with. They're just going out there with the normal stuff. I'm telling you, Brian, to me, that's counterproductive. I think we should be more relaxed when we go out there. And I think that when you're more relaxed, I think phenomena follows you. And I believe that the energies that surround us, it's easier to manifest through that or contact, whatever you want to call it. What do you think about like being rigid compared to like being more laid back on investigations?
Well, man, you just described the second half of the scared years. We showed up in BDUs. We showed up in uniforms.
I know you did.
We were a military outfit, and at the time, the thought was, okay, this shows we're serious. This shows we're here to get down to work, and there will be no mistaking. Yeah, I'm not showing up in a stained T-shirt that I slept in. Like, all right, you know what? Like military, shine my shoes, get into the BDUs, get to work, and that lets the spirits know, all right, I'm here to do a job. But that being said, I think maybe that time I was too serious and I forgot to allow the fun to permeate it. And I look back on those years and sometimes I'm like, I can't believe we did that. But just like everyone else who's out there right now, I see people feuding and vague booking and spending a lot of time and energy on things that don't matter. I'm like,
exactly.
And I'm about to speak up and I'm about to type and I'm like, no, step away from the keyboard, Brian.
I do. I pull the hand away.
Because you know what? They have to go through it, just like we had to go through it. And I had to go through it in our own time. And there was probably people back then who were like, Brian, you should probably do that. And I didn't listen to them, just as they wouldn't listen to me. So for the people out there who are not having fun, hopefully they will get through that phase and join us here on the other side, because it's a blast. And I've been having more fun now than I have in a long time.
See, I agree with you 100% because I don't believe that we should all be that evangelistic in our approach. I believe that we should be out there and enjoy what we do for the sake of doing it and see what happens. And
I think I'm going to put my old scared uniform on a mannequin in the exhibit and have it as a cautionary tale. It's like, okay, don't let this be you.
I remember your BDUs, babe. I remember when you used to wear them.
We made it look good.
You guys could definitely be like fashion plates back then. I remember
men and women in uniform. You gotta love it.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I forgot all about the women that were involved in it too. Yes, that was really good.
You don't need to see their identification.
Yes. Well, I don't.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Brian, tell everybody about upcoming events, but also how they can get a hold of you more, find out more about.
I want people to get a hold of me more.
No, but I mean your Patreon. I mean, let everybody know how they can really get to figure out how they can really touch the very soul of Brian Cano without a stick.
This coming weekend, I'm going to be down in Gettysburg at Gettysburg Ghost Tours. I'm doing an event I'm calling Haunted by the Past. It's going to be fun. We're gonna eat. And that's the thing. Like we said, we want to have fun. I'm trying to have meals with people before we go on a hunt, because instead of just a stoic, very neutral, oh, we just met, now we're going to go on a hunt. Let's share a meal together. Let's laugh. Let's share stories. And then when we go into the hunt, we're already a team. We're already bonded. So I'm going to be doing that this weekend in Gettysburg. As I mentioned before, September 13th, I'm going to be at the Bell with Dustin Parry. Boys are back at the Bell. Then I'm going to be going on to Haunted Palmyra at the top of October.
I'll be there this year too myself.
For a great event. It's a great location, also on the trail. And then I'm going to be headed to Ireland at the end of October. There still are a couple of spots. And the interesting thing, the exciting thing about it, not only are you going to get to go to Ireland with me and see some great sights, on October 31st, we're going to be investigating Lep Castle. And this is
Wow.
Ireland. This is Samhain, the home of Halloween, where it all began. So to check out that and other events I'm doing, please go to neverstopsearching.com, click on the events tab. But if you really want to get a deep dive and you want to look more into parapsychology, ufology, and just really say, hey, I don't know where to go, Brian, help me, teach me, my Patreon page, patreon.com/Brian J. Cano. Anybody who's on that, you help me get things done. I have my bi-weekly, fortnightly broadcast on Tuesday nights called Tuesday Night Bri. My video projects you guys help me do. It helps fund the museum. And at the top tier, my apprentice tier, I create a syllabus for you. If you want to learn something, we have an hour phone call every month where I teach you whatever I can, who from all the people that I've learned from, I pass it down to you guys. So check it out.
It's great.
Please.
Brian, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Because I know you're like, your schedule's insane. And I'm really thrilled. Stay on the line for a couple minutes. And thank you again for being on the Black Cat Lounge and wearing and representing the black. You make that t-shirt look fantastic, brother. Stay on the line for a couple seconds. I want to thank you properly. Guys, I have to say, Brian is probably one of the nicest people that I've ever met within this field. And he is probably one of the most knowledgeable. I love the fact that I'm able to go and just pick his brain once in a while, figure out what's going on, and be able to have him just enjoy coming on the show. Now, just to let you guys know, so much is going on. So, guys, try to be kind out there. Try. You don't have to succeed, but try. Put the intent out that things are going to go and get better. And I'll see you next week. Where else? Right here at the Black Cat Lounge, where the elite meet. Where else? Next to the dumpster transfer station. Guys, ciao. Take care, and thank you for being on. We'll be on next week. Bye-bye.